We are back. Happy Monday, everybody. It's the Recap Lunch Hour with Guff, me, Ryan McGuffey, here on the recap after a weekend. I'm not going to lie to you. Not going to lie to you. A little disappointed here with the Super Bowl matchup. Not that I'm not appreciative of greatness and success. Okay. I appreciate the opportunity. Maybe in 2 weeks, I'll be ready for a matchup that feels underwhelming, even though it's two of the best teams. I mean, the Chiefs were the best team in football, start to finish, even if they won 17 games by a score or less. They're different, man. They got a different coach. They got a different quarterback. Noah, what's up? Go Cubbies. Hope you guys are doing well. Yeah, the Cubs complete the trade for Ryan Presley over the weekend. Waives his no trade clause, and the Cubs actually have a closer. We can get into that as we go. But Super Bowl 59 set, Philadelphia Eagles, Kansas City Chiefs. Chiefs will try to become the first team ever to win 3 Super Bowls. And look, or 3 straight Super Bowls, not 3 Super Bowls. But a lot of people aren't happy, and I get it. Emiliana. In Ben the Pen Johnson we trust. Trey Smith, you are a bear. Yeah, we're going to get into the Ben Smith stuff. Or Ben Smith, geez. Combined Ben Johnson staff. Broski, what up, Guff? Dennis Allen and Dicka's nephew. Let's go. The game was crap. The Bills got hosed. Swayze, I'm not a big conspiracy theorist, okay? But I'll tell you what, man. When you had, there's 3 calls, even Gene Steratore in the booth, like, yeah, I don't agree with that. Yeah, I don't agree with that. That spot on Josh Allen was absolute crap. It was absolute crap. 2 refs in 2 different spots. They review it. They never measure. And, it changed the game completely. I thought the Bills were driving down the field to take the lead or to extend the lead. Instead, it's a turnover on downs. Kansas City goes down, etc. Chris, not worth watching the same teams in the Super Bowl. Time to make that day useful than sit on the couch. I have a feeling, Chris, that you'll watch that game, but I hear you. Ben Johnson should only be for – how about Big Ben, broski? Clyde, I'm at work, Guff. Cubs are going to use Presley as a closer with a question. Yeah, Presley was a closer before Josh Hader signed with the Astros. From what I've read, Presley wasn't ecstatic about going to a setup guy, but he knew he had to because of the acquisition. So he comes to the Cubs now, waives his no trade with a chance to be a closer again. He had 33 saves just 2 years ago. And, some people are worried that he's lost a mile per hour on his velocity. He's been a high leverage, good late inning reliever for quite some time. And for most of the success of that 7-year playoff run of the Astros included Presley. Santos, go Eagles. Well, there's somebody that's excited. There's somebody. What do you think of all the Bulls rumors about Bradley Beal? All right, so our guy Joe Cowley reported this morning that the Bulls are officially open for business and everyone but Buzelis is available, which absolutely. February 6th, folks. Next week is the NBA trade deadline. Tonight's kind of an audition. The Bulls play host to the Denver Nuggets. And if the Denver Nuggets are looking to add Zach LaVine, take a look at him tonight when you're in town. Noah, you and Cap are my favorites. I appreciate you guys. You guys are amazing. I want to be a radio broadcaster. Hopefully the next Pat Hughes. Noah Stevens, from your lips to God's ears, my man. I appreciate the compliments. So does Cap. And I hope you are the next Pat Hughes, brother. That's a hell of a compliment. That's a lofty goal, and I think goals should be lofty. The Hall of Famer, Pat Hughes. Sean says Jaden Daniels will be in the Super Bowl within 3 years. I mean, is that really going out on a limb? I don't even know if you'd get plus money on that. I mean, he was only a game away from the Super Bowl in his rookie year. So perhaps, Sean, perhaps. Jaden Daniels certainly looked good. Jess is pissed. You don't want to get Jess upset. That game was disappointing. Really thought the Bills were going to pull it off, but we all knew the refs were going to be tough to overcome. I mean, at the end of the day, yes, Jess, I agree. Steve Spagnuolo had a hell of a game. The last call there where he came after Josh Allen. I still don't know how Josh Allen got that ball off and actually to an open, was it Dalton Kincaid, I think, who dropped that ball? But having to overcome the refs is tough. I mean, if the defense could just make a stop, they kept doing that under center rollout with Patrick Mahomes. He ran for 45 yards. It's the most rushing yards he's had, I think, ever in the playoffs. He ran for 2 touchdowns. But that spot, man, was absolutely brutal. And Lip Ripper, what's up? I hope you, hey, Lip Ripper, I hope you rode Purdue. Friday night was the easiest cash we've had in a long time. The script writers got what they want. Yeah, there's a lot of people who thinks these games are fixed. I don't. I don't. Players are not going to fix games. I just don't believe it. It is very, very. Here, I'll show you. This is what my son was wearing during the game. So my son was very disappointed, which is why the jersey is still sitting right here. The jersey's still sitting right here because he took it off in disgust, not because he was mad at Josh Allen, but because he was mad at the result. They were really bad, bro. The refs took it from them, and it's sad. Yeah. Phil Simms, the real Phil Simms. The real Super Bowl was yesterday. They will make history. I think they will too. So I'm not an Eagles guy, but I love Saquon Barkley. So that's a challenge. I do love Saquon Barkley. That's going to be a tough one. I got 2 weeks to figure it out. Clyde, you want to know when there's going to be a Blackhawks recap podcast? Well, so we actually did some Blackhawks last year. And here's what happened. There was buzz, and then a week later it went like this, and then 2 weeks later it went like this, and three weeks later there were 200 people looking at these. The Hawks just haven't caught on right now. And so when the Hawks are getting numbers again, I know that there are Blackhawks fans out there, but it's been a tough sled in the last couple of years, and I get it. So it's kind of like that out of sight, out of mind thing right now. Eric, absolutely horrible officiating in the Bills-Chiefs game. The NFL needs to have better officials in these championship games. Or they need to do a better, the review process sucks. I still don't, the Xavier Worthy catch, that ball hit the ground. I mean, and his hand wasn't the dominant hand on the ball on the catch. Big Ben has already been taken by the Steelers, says Jess. We know Jess, Pittsburgh's backyard. How do we feel about Ryan Presley to the Cubs? I think you should be happy about it because the Cubs actually have a legit guy to turn the ball over to in the 9th inning. They've been missing that for a couple of years. Yeah, is he Josh Hader? No. Is he a guy who's been very successful in that role before and knows what it's like to pitch in big games? Yes. He's been in the playoffs every year of his career with Houston. It's pretty good. Cubs are kind of becoming Astros North. Eric, great hire for DC. Also getting a young OC is a plus. Bear down. Let's go. Can't wait till the season starts. So, Ben Johnson, and we have a recap up on the channel from this morning. Cap flew back. Cap was at that game, by the way. I haven't got a chance to really talk to him yet because I want to know what his perspective was being at the game when we're all watching it thinking that's a bad spot. I even texted him at one point. I was like, that's a terrible spot. And he's like, which one? So it tells you how you're watching the game at home versus watching the game in the stands. Ben Johnson tabs Dennis Allen as DC. Declan Doyle as the OC on the Bears staff. So that's what we were talking about in terms of the Bears hiring. Man, the comments are really pouring in. Vince, Fangio against Mahomes is fascinating. That's a great point. An elite D coordinator against the best quarterback in the game. Have to see how Fangio fared versus Mahomes as a head coach in Denver. Probably not well. I'll just say that. Probably not well. And you got to remember, you got that guy on the other side, Andy Reid, going against his former team yet again. And he's the best to ever do it, calling an offense. He just really is. He'll be ready. I hope they go ahead and get those trades done. The keys need to be given to Mattis. Absolutely. For the Bulls, yeah. They got to start dealing guys yesterday. So the worst of the options for the Super Bowl, I guess I'll be watching for the commercials. Yeah, I think to me it was Bills versus anyone. But again, I will be adamant about this. I truly appreciate greatness. I wonder where I'll be at come game day. I mean, I don't know if we'll ever see a team win 3 Super Bowls ever again in my lifetime. So I could appreciate that if it happens. Backup all-stars. How soon will Spags get a head coaching job? I can't believe he wasn't named in any of the openings. Well, you got to remember, he's the only coordinator to win 4 Super Bowls as a coordinator. He's been a head coach before. It didn't work out. He did get interviewed for some of these openings this year, backup. But maybe he's just a great coordinator, and that's okay. Maybe he's just a great flipping coordinator. Lip ripper you rode. Let's go, kid. That was over early. Really kind of played right into that one. There are no fixes. These guys make millions. They're going to fix a game for a couple $100,000. No, they didn't. Trust me, guys. The football teams aren't fixing these games. Now, was the officiating a problem? It wasn't great. I question a few of them. Clyde, if the Blackhawks can figure out how to get out of their own way, we will reevaluate the Blackhawks. King, I honestly feel the Eagles will shock and beat the Chiefs with a crazy play similar to how they upset the Patriots. Bears fan forever. 2025, take the NFC. I don't know if it'll be shock. I mean, it's a 1.5 spread. These are 2 pretty evenly matched teams. One team loves to run the football, and the Eagles, they're trying to prove it that you could still be old-fashioned and just run the football. I mean, 7 rushing touchdowns yesterday. My God. Noah asks if the Cubs will get Bregman. Will they get more relief pitching? Okay, I think yes. My buddy Bruce Levine was reporting that the Cubs are still going down the road with Ryan Stanek, former Astro, had an off year last year, not in Houston. And then former Cub, former White Sox, 39, like just a guy who keeps doing it at this age of his career, David Robertson. So they're still in negotiations with both of those guys. Bregman is going to be a guy that unless he gets like a Cody Bellinger deal, and we talked about this the other day on the radio, I think the Cubs keep checking in on him. And maybe they get into a situation, 3-4 weeks from now where they can get him on a 1 for 20 or something. I don't know. It seems unrealistic right now. If Bregman happens, I don't think it'll be a long-term deal. Oh, a lot of Blackhawks talk here. Blackhawks should fire Kyle Davidson, worst team in hockey every year. It's not been a good situation. The rebuild that he has put together, yes, they have Connor Bedard, but it's a bad, bad, bad hockey team. Clyde right now, probably. His numbers and metrics are off the charts, but I still think it'd be great to get another veteran dude there. Is it David Robertson? And now you go 7, 8, 9, shorten the game. Stanek would be a little bit more of a wild card because you're hoping to change him. But, yeah, I think Porter Hodge is definitely in the mix to be a back-end late-inning guy. Not the closer, though. Not yet. How does Billy and AK have a job? It's been the same product for 5 years. I think Billy's fine. You can ask AK. Billy's been coaching a roster he doesn't really like. He doesn't love this roster. It's a bunch of misfits, and they've been piecing it together and being a playing team for the last couple of years. But it's fair. It's a fair question. AK, they're out of sight, out of mind. I mean, Jay, you didn't even mention Mark Eversley, who's the de facto GM of the Bulls. Like, I bet you most fans don't even know that. That's how out of sight, out of mind they are. Yeah, Jess, most jacked about Antoine Randall, receivers coach, assistant head coach. Good to see a former Steeler doing well. Chicago guy. Thornton High School. Prior to Thornton High School, really good basketball player. If you remember him at Indiana, he also played 2 sports there, was the quarterback for the Hoosiers, played on the basketball team. Eli really wanting me in on these rumors. I think there's going to be a lot more rumors here in the next week plus, Eli, of Bulls players, whether it's Vooch, Zach, Lonzo Ball. Don't be surprised if they even look at guys like Kobe White, Ayo Dosunmu. Vanilla, Sean, would be my thoughts on the Cowboys' new coach, Brian Schottenheimer. Cheaper option, a guy they know. He was already OC. Jerry wants it to be his way, and maybe this is fine, though. Maybe this is what the Cowboys need. Kind of a not as a splashy name to be their head coach. Let's see. I don't know. Jason thinks the Eagles will beat the Chiefs and Barkley will be MVP. If you like that, it's plus 250. You should lay that down right now. What Chicago team do you think will be next to win a championship? Whoo! To win a championship. I mean, I'm just looking to win a division championship at this point. Um, it's the Cubs or Bears, which it's the Cubs or Bears. You know what? Let's say they got this one right for the first time ever. I'm going Chicago Bears. I am. I'm going Chicago Bears. Chris wants to know who will be the Bears offensive line coach. Some of those depth coaching staff they're still being figured out. I heard there could be press conferences as early as Wednesday announcing some of the coaching staff hires. So keep an eye on that, Chris. I did do a look before I came on here. I did not see any. I did not see anything regarding other position coaches. Okay. I'll keep you honest, though. Vince, Philly has a great defensive line. Philly has a great offensive and defensive line. Like Tampa Bay did against Kansas City 4 years, they have to dominate. Yeah, but Kansas City's offensive line and defensive line are better now, too. You know, they've drafted well, they've developed well, they've kept their own guys. It should be a really good battle up front. I think the Eagles are better up front, but I don't think it's overwhelming on either side. Seth Jones might be on his way to Dallas or Colorado, which, yes, that monster contract that he signed hasn't really worked out. Well, Atomic coming in hot. If you're blaming Davidson, you're clueless about hockey. I'm just saying, man, you are what your record is. Okay. I understand that they've been they had to bottom out to kind of turn it around. You have players on the team telling you right now, they have said it out loud. Taylor Hall, they thought they were going to be here. They thought they were going to be signing extensions. They thought they were going to be better. There was going to be more wins this year. Sorry, leadership has to. So are we not blaming Ryan Poles? I mean, there's got to be accountability somewhere. I'm not saying it's all him, but I'm loving Ben's staff pick, said Swayze, but a little weary of the young OC. Do you think Ben will be one? Okay, Ben Johnson's calling plays. Do not worry about a guy who's 28 years old. He wants a guy who's going to put a game plan together Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday that he can tweak later in the week, that he's going to work hand in hand with. Doyle, by all accounts, seems to be a rising star in the NFL. I have no problem if the head coach is calling plays that you have a young developing OC right behind you. No problem at all. Look at the 28-year-old execs that got their first jobs. Cap mentions this in the Bears recap that's out. Kyle Shanahan, 28. Sean McVay, 28. Theo Epstein, GM of the Red Sox, 28. Age is a number, man. Age is a number. You shouldn't be blocked from a position just because you're not old enough or you're too old. One of the two. So I'm going to roll with it. Let's just judge it then. Sean wants to know who gets removed from the roster when the Birdie and Presley deals become official. I don't know. Look at their 40 man. There's always a couple of names on there. You're like, you forget that some of the guys who are on the 40 man. Yes, Josh, I think the Bears will be grabbing linemen in free agency and the draft. Fast and furious on everything. Presley was not replaced as a closer. They signed the best closer in the guy's got more saves than anybody in baseball since 2018, I think. I looked it up. Josh Hader replaced his closer last season. Not a foregone conclusion he'll be the closer here. I think it's a foregone conclusion, Mike. Who, as of right now, is the closer? He didn't get replaced they went out and signed the best guy available. Mike, it's hard to believe that they would, but I think this time is going to actually be different. Okay? Vince said the Bulls should have blown it up 2 years ago. No one disagrees. Like the great Rick Hahn said 8.5 years ago, the Bulls are and have been mired in mediocrity. Jess, Jerry Jones can't have a big name or splashy coach because he has a tight hold on the reins in Dallas. I think this is the closest Jones can get to the head coach without his name next to the title. Agreed, which might be why Brian Schottenheimer could be a good head coaching option for the Cowboys. I totally agree with that. Swayze, nobody's talking about the Bears' need for speed and wiggle on offense. We need that desperately, and I hope we don't forget about it in the draft. It's all about priority for me, Swayze, at this point. They need to protect number 18 up front. He can't be on the ground 68 times. I mean, how about Patrick Mahomes? I saw in the game last night, sacked 40 times this year, career high. That's 28 fewer times than Caleb Williams. And that was a career high. They supported their young quarterback up front when it was time for him to play. Okay, so Phil wants to know about Alonso. The Mets, Steve Cohen talked about how it's been a frustrating negotiation with Pete Alonso over the weekend at their fan fest. So that's still up in the air. I don't think the Cubs are in on him. It doesn't sound like there's unless again, it's going to have to come down to a short-term deal. Cease is interesting. Castillo for Nico doesn't feel like it's picking up any steam. I think Nico right now is staying here. I really do. It seems to be a foregone conclusion, Sean, but they didn't adhere to the Rooney rule, so now they're swimming backwards because they need to clean up their process before they name Matt Eberflus. By the way, the Cowboys play the Bears next year. That should be fun. Also, Thomas Brown hired by the Patriots today as tight ends coach and maybe run game coordinator. So he'll be going with Mike Vrabel staff. Jody's chiming in with a go Chiefs. Jay doesn't care who the OC is. They need a veteran line coach. Mike, I would love Munchak. My God. Lip Ripper, I have not. To me, I don't get it right now, man. I don't get it. Yeah, Mike, I said Sean McVay was 28 when he got that job. Jess, thanks for the Sox Fest coverage. Still need to watch the prospect episode. We're all waiting for you for your episode, Mr. Ron. Thank you. Sox Fest was interesting. I thought it actually worked. I've heard from fans, both good and bad, some saying it wasn't a good experience for kids. It was an interesting venue. The Ramova's beautiful. It probably worked for this particular year. I know the prospects who were there and talking to them, they were loving it. And it was always good. Mark Burley is the best. And it was really good to see him. And just the fact that he'll have a statue on July 11th, that'll be unveiled. That'll be great. But yeah, a new White Sox recap podcast is on the channel. I spoke to Colson and Braden Montgomery, Hagen Smith, and Chase Mydroth about their excitement level of coming up together to change the narrative for the future of the White Sox. We'll see. We'll see. Kurt, go neither Chiefs or Eagles. The Godfather. A lot of Blackhawks chatter here, but are not playing up to expectations. Need another. Yeah, they don't have. They fired Luke Richardson, and it just seems like they've not. They're playing without a lot of passion. That's what it seems like to me. Lip Ripper, I actually considered Michigan in the bounce back spot tonight. I did. I really did. I passed on them. I don't mind it. I'm going to do a little more research on them as we get close to our bet of the day. Bet of the day, 3 straight now. I'm in my own head a little bit tonight, but I'm going to go with my pick, and we'll unveil that here in just a minute. Christian, I will not let myself get excited about the Bears until I see wins on the field. That's all that matters. No offseason. Okay, Christian, you have earned that right. I don't disagree. I totally get it. And that's a good way to do it, actually. Swayze, I know you're a Sox guy, but we need to do something at Wrigley. Yeah, dude, I'm at both. I cover the Sox, but I'll be covering the Cubs a lot more now, too, for this channel. I want a winner in this town. I could give a damn who it is anymore. Vince is giving us some bets of the day. He wants to lay the 3.5 with the Knicks tonight. I'll do a little dive on that, Vince. Appreciate the pick. We'll have to revisit these tomorrow. Maybe we'll do a parlay with my pick, Vince's pick, and Lip Ripper's pick and see what happens. Andrew says TGL would have made sense 2 months ago, right after the season. Now there are so many real tournaments happening. It's fun to watch Patrick Cantlay squirm for the best shot clock, though. Start bench cut, Sox Park food. You got to give options when you throw a start bench cut out there, Lip Ripper. You can't just be like, you got to figure out. You got to give the 3. Good afternoon, Guff. Should the Chiefs win? Are they the greatest dynasty in NFL history? Wow, probably. I mean, they're definitely in the conversation. I mean, and that, with all due respect to Tom Brady and the Patriots, probably. I think it's cool, and people don't like him. I think he's getting better. I thought his best game was on Sunday. I think it's cool. Tom Brady, the GOAT, will be calling the mini GOATs Super Bowl an opportunity to win 3 straight. I think it's cool. Phil thinks it's close. He'd go with New England, but it's damn close. If the Kansas City Chiefs get a win here, that's 4 Super Bowls for Patrick Mahomes, and he's not 30. A lot of people with this like running back in the first or second round talk. I want 285-pound dudes that can move. So I don't know. Godfather, after Jane Daniels did a silly dance in the end zone, the Eagles got pissed. Well, you can't overcome 4 turnovers. You just can't turn the ball over. You get 3 peanut punches. You lost the ball in a kickoff return. Clyde's going with the Chiefs, and Chris is picking the Dodgers. I don't know where to go to win the World Series. That's not a all that out there pick, Chris. All right, let's do our bet of the day. We're on a real heater here. Usually don't like to talk too much about it, but when you're on a heater, you got to ride the wave. Purdue in a absolutely pasted Michigan on Friday to win our 3rd straight bet as we get closer and closer to 500. The Bulls host Nikola Jokic and the Denver Nuggets tonight. I really thought about going Josh Giddey over 7.5 rebounds again, and I'm considering doing that still. He's had 3 straight double-doubles. I even thought about the plus 160 on the double-double. But I'm going to go Russell Westbrook. Look, this game could get out of hand, which scares me a little bit when you're talking about points. I just think this is a horrible matchup for the Bulls. And someone's going to run the floor early. And I think it's Russell Westbrook could have like one of those like 7-8 point first quarters and get to this number by the 3rd quarter. And if it's out of hand, the line's 9.5, then I feel pretty good about it. I'm going to ride this. I'm going to try to get to 4 in a row with Russell Westbrook, 14.5 points tonight. Lip Ripper thinks Mahomes would be out of the league if the Bears drafted him. Lip Ripper, you're hammering the Nuggets. That's the bet of the day. We have won 3 straight, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Let's keep this week moving. Let's get hot. By the way, my son had a good one yesterday. He's like, hey, what's Xavier Worthy's rushing yards for today? They were 3.5. I hit that pretty good. I'm already on the Super Bowl. He's over 4.5 yards rushing. I'm throwing that prop bet out 2 weeks early. I love that bet. I love it. So that's my bet of the day. 3 in a row. Ride the wave. Minus 104. Kind of a juicy number. Pretty close to even money on the veteran, Russell Westbrook. Plenty of comments. We appreciate all of them. Yeah, he does. Yeah, he does. It's actually scary. I was like, oh God, am I getting good betting advice from my kid here? And Josh says, can always get good linemen from the University of Iowa or another tight end. A lot of stuff. Big weekend. The Bears have an offensive and defensive coordinator. The Super Bowl is set for the 2nd time in 3 years. It's the Eagles and the Chiefs. For the 3rd straight year, it's the Chiefs. Chiefs. It's insane that Patrick Mahomes has played in the AFC title every year of his career. That'll put a bow on this edition of the Recap Lunch Hour with Guff, me, Ryan McGuffey. For everybody at the Recap, thank you for watching. We have a Bears recap, a Bears update on the channel from this morning. Obviously, we did hear the lunch hour. We will have a recap rush hour updating you on any of the news from the day, and then we'll have a recap after the Bulls and Nuggets go final tonight from the United Center. I appreciate you guys all. We will see you again tomorrow. Check out the latest White Sox recap podcast with interviews from 4 of the White Sox top prospects. We'll do it again tomorrow. I'm Ryan McGuffey. This has been the Recap Lunch Hour.